everyone, how are you guys today? You guys are live here on my page. My name is Brandy. I'm with Brush by Brandy, and I am working on a piece. I posted it on my page earlier, and I thought I'd come on and show you guys. I'm going to be applying the transfer and show you guys applying this transfer. It's one of the new transfers by Redesign with Prima that just came out. This is the Burgundy Roses transfer. I put a link up in the post if you want to check out the entire new collection of transfers, but this one really caught my eye for the colors that are in it. So you can see it's got some mauves and some plums in there. So I mixed a custom mauve color. See if you can, you'll be able to see it as I go. Hi guys, hey Sheila. Okay, so as I'm getting started and people are popping on, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to go live on the Dixie Belle page at 5 o'clock. So, it's 5 o'clock my time, 8 p.m. Eastern. So in 30 minutes, I'm going to switch from my page and go over to the Dixie Belle page. Leah was going to be live tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and cover her live for her. So, so head over to the Dixie Belle page when I pop off here in half an hour, and I'm gonna go live on the Dixie Belle page. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm also trying out my new tripod that I just got today, and I actually really like it. It's weighted at the bottom so I can shift my camera angles a little bit better, which is going to be really nice. And it has a gooseneck, so I can bend my camera however I want. It's going to be really nice. So, Sean's not here with me today. He's going to be with me at 5 though, over on the Dixie Belle page. Hey Brittany, hey Pat, hey Valerie, hey guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because I don't have a lot of time to do this right now. But I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to go ahead and put this transfer in, and this is the design that I like. I posted a few different options on my page earlier, and this was one of them. I think it is number 1. I can't remember the numbers that I sent them, but I think it's number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and start applying these, and I know that I want this. The first thing I did is I took this transfer and I cut it all up. Every image I cut out. So let me show you guys. I cut all of the images apart, and I will fill in with these, but this allows me to go through and I take the larger ones first. So in this case, I'm going to start with these larger florals here. You just ordered this and can't wait. I know the colors in it are really pretty. This caught my eye right off the bat. I see tea rose. You can mix it with a little bit of muscadine wine in here, a little bit of aubergine. Those are the colors I'm seeing. Oh, there's some mint julep in this transfer. A little bit of mint julep in there. You could put this with maybe a sea glass even. I could see sea glass in there too. Yeah, really pretty colors. So I'm going to start though with the larger pieces, and I can come back and fill in later. But I'm going to start with this one here. And I apologize for that little bit of light, you guys. That's the windows on my garage are bringing some light in. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on my door. Move you guys over. Okay, so this is, I know I want it over here, and I want it kind of in this corner, and I'm going to let this wrap the corner of my piece. Okay, so I have some questions about applying transfers on a raised surface. So this has a molding around the door and also some fluting over here that this transfer is going to go over. When I place this transfer, the first part I'm going to do this flat surface first. And the things that you want to have out with you want to have out, I'm going to have out my Redesign transfer tool. This is by Redesign with Prima. I'm going to have out my little stick that comes in the box with my transfer. A pair of scissors, because I may need to cut pieces off of this to make this easier for me to lay. And then I want an X-Acto knife. If I can get myself in the picture here. I can never find my X-Acto knife. You know what I need to do? I need to paint it because it's got a black handle, and I throw it in my caddy and then I never can find it. So you want an X-Acto knife, a utility knife, a razor blade. Are the flowers upside down? No, because you can put them any way you want. So on this piece, I'm looking in that I like this rose right here kind of facing in, but I could take this, let's see if it'll release. Yeah, it will. I don't want to ruin it, but it's not attached enough. So I could take this and I could place it this way, or I could place it this way, or this way, or this way. There is no wrong or right way to put a transfer on. Most of them, for the most part, do not have an upside or a downside. So I'm going to pay attention to this flat surface first, okay? So I'm going to bring you guys in so you can see what I'm working on. You're not going to see my face, but you're going to see my hands, okay? So I'm going to pay attention to this flat surface first. And I'm going to come in with my, this is my stick that comes in the package, which I actually prefer these a lot. I use these probably more than I use the Redesign Transfer tool. And I just want this to attach right here enough that it's not going to fall. So I'm just going to rub over the surface of my transfer on here. Okay? I'm not going to try to make it, you know what, I could. You know what, let's go ahead and make it conform because that might help you guys. Okay, so I'm going to do my straight edge first, and then I'm going to come and put it right into this crevice. And I'm only going to do one molding at a time. Okay, and I'm going to use my stick, and I'm not worrying about this one up here. I'm just going to do one at a time, and I'm going to work this transfer over this molding. And this is where sometimes having this tool right here can be nice because it's got these different edges on it. So you can work these into some of these deep crevices a little bit better than you can the little wooden tool. And I'm going to ride all the fluting of my molding. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to wrap it on the curve of that molding. I'm holding it at the same time because I don't want this transfer to break on me. And then I'm going to come over here and wrap it around, and that's going to kind of hold it in place. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure I got all this. Okay, let's come over here, and you just work one area at a time. If you try to do too much, like if I try to do this, I'm going to pull my transfer and it's going to want to tear. I don't want to do that. So now I can come up here and I can do this though, and then I can release it from this backing sheet and get rid of a piece of this backing sheet. That's where the scissors come in. I can cut it away from the backing sheet where I don't need it anymore. I'm going to come back to my wooden tool because it's the right dimensions to get into this little area right here. Okay, now I'm going to pull away this part and I'm going to cut it off so that my transfer isn't restricted on this side anymore. It's just this side I need to work with. But I do the flat area first. Okay, I'm going to make sure my edges are nice and attached. I'm going to rub this as I peel it, just watching to make sure that all my edges stay down as I peel it. And then I'm going to be able to cut this away. This little part right here. I want to get rid of this piece of backing paper, and then I can come. I'm going to cut this a little bit, just my backing paper. I want to get rid of it. And now that I'll have this side free, it's going to make it way easier to not be pulling at it from both edges around that molding. Now I just have to work it from the other side around that molding. Okay, so rub down my transfer, make sure this part looks good. Super pretty colors in this. I have no tears around this molding at all right here. It's all nice and flat. Okay, now I'm going to conform it to the rest of this molding right here. I can come and wrap this corner all the way. I'm not going to do the fluting yet. I'll come back and do the fluting after I've got it wrapped around this molding right here and into this little flat area. This is the flat area of my door. And then this is just going to want to pop away. And I'm going to go ahead and rub my transfer down into my crevice. Using my fingernail to make sure it gets tight up in that crevice. The transfer has a little bit of flex to it. It will stretch a little bit. I still don't have any tearing. Okay, so that looks good. You can also cut these apart into pieces if you want. Not reading my comments at the same time because I'm trying to do this. I'm going to turn this towards me, and let's start working this fluting a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to work one flute at a time. One, and then I'll get it in the crevice, and then two, and get it in the crevice. Three, get it in the crevice. Don't just shove it on there and try to make it conform later. You just want to work one at a time. If you try to make it move after the fact, I have a hinge right here. I am going to go ahead and let my transfer go onto my hinge. If you try to just do the whole thing, you're going to tear your transfer is going to tear. I'm going to peel this backing paper up. The backing paper doesn't have a lot of flex, and I'm asking for this thing to flex right now. I need to get into this crevice. I'm just pressing it into that crevice, and then I can ask this to release a little bit. There we go. Okay, I have a break right here. This is, see the seam of my door? I'm going to go ahead and cut this. It's going to be a cut no matter what I do. See, I can cut that, and I can cut this right here. And then in between I've got that hinge, and then I can get rid of this piece of backing paper as well. Okay, so that's all free. I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, now I'm going to work this fluted detail. So that is my first, just this first ridge is all I'm paying attention to. I'm not going across the whole thing at the same time. I want to make sure it's wrapping. And when you wrap a curve, the backing paper wants to pop automatically. It wants to go back to straight. You're forcing it into a curve, so it will pop itself up on a curve like that. See how this is wanting to pop back up after I attach the transfer, and then the backing paper just pops away. Now let's go on to my next curve. I've wrapped it with my fingers. I'm writing that crevice, and then I'm going to work it. Okay, now I'm going to wrap the next one. I'm going to ride this crevice, pushing it in with my fingers. Okay, and I'm on my last curve right here. So this is going to wrap my corner. I'm going to rub it onto the face, and then everything else will wrap my corner flat. Try not to block with my head. But I need to look over there, guys, so I'm going to block with my head for a minute. Okay, and once I've wrapped this corner, it's going to release from over here. I can pull that away. And then I'm going to make sure that all my edges on these curves are nice and attached before I start trying to take the backing paper off. I'm going to go in here with this little edge of my transfer tool, this one right here. How much cracking do you get? I'm going to take you guys in. I don't have cracking. I don't have cracking. I would get cracking if I tried to make it conform while it, but if you just make it do one at a time, just do one curve at a time. I don't have cracking on here. You know, I do on occasion get a crack, and all I will do is I will come back in, and like I told you, I've got tea rose, I've got a little bit of muscadine wine in here, I've got some aubergine. I will just come and touch that up, and then when you put a clear coat on it, the sheen matches. You can't even tell that you touched up your transfer. So if I get one, I can touch it up. I'm peeling this back away slowly, watching to make sure that my transfer is not coming with it. There's a little spot I need to rub right there. Okay, I'm gonna take you guys in, but I'm gonna just rub this with my finger. I'm gonna get in here with my fingernail in these little tiny ridges so that it just seats in those thin crevices. I don't want to tear it, so I'm being super gentle. Okay, my hinge is gonna need some work. I wrapped this hinge right here, and I'm going to leave my transfer going onto the hinge, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it right along the edge. Because I want to tell the transfer where it needs to break, otherwise it's going to choose for me, and it's going to be a tear. So I'm just pressing the blade of my X-Acto knife into my hinge. I'm going to let the transfer stay on that hinge. I think it looks kind of cool. But I'm going to choose where I want it to tear. Okay, and then I can press it down right along the edge of the hinge. Come over here and get the bottom. And then I'm going to press it down into this side. And now I've got, can you guys see that? Just, gosh, that light is obnoxious. I need Sean out here to come cover those windows. Okay, you can see my hinge right here. I covered the hinge in the transfer. See, I've got my, and it's just sliced right on the side, and then I pressed it into those crevices right there. Okay. I'm going to come back and press this down using my fingernail, getting it into all these crevices right here. I'm still going to come back and burnish this transfer gently to get out any air bubbles before I put my clear coat on, but I feel good about how it's attached. Let me show you guys what burnishing looks like. Okay, so what that means is, Sean, is that you?
Yeah, I'm coming to cover the window.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
it's so
comments
obnoxious.
on your video, woman.
Oh, I can't read it because I stare and I just have the light from that window right in my face. I can't even look that direction. Thank you so much.
Sean's put my cape on.
Okay, so this is a finishing pad from Dixie Belle. This is just their white finishing pad. I cut these up into, this is what, a quarter of one, a third of one maybe. You can even cut them smaller, and I just take a little bit of this. It's a very light abrasive, and I just go, and this rubs down any edges that I have. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it on its edge and use that right here in this narrow crevice. Thank you so much.
What if I just sit here and do this?
Just stand there?
Is that cool?
No, it's not.
No?
Oh.
Okay. Asking for a friend.
Oh my gosh, that's so much better. You know what? I should get like a film or something for those windows. Oh my gosh, you guys, is that so much better? Sean just rescued us. You guys want to see? He's up on the stool rescuing us from. Okay, come in here and let's look at this as up close as I can get you guys on a transfer. Okay, I sliced this right here. So this is my cut right here, but it's conformed. to all of this fluted molding right here, just by taking it one curve at a time. I'm going to put some black waxes in these crevices right here. To get this right here cleaned up, I need to open this door. And I would just come from this side. Let's see, it's going to want to break, so I didn't slice it all the way through. I'm going to make sure I slice that. And then I can come at it from behind and wrap that corner into the inside of my cabinet. So that looks nice from the front. Yay, Sean, exactly. Okay, so I've got a cut right here. I've got my hinge right here. Okay, it's attached to my hinge. Looks kind of cool. And it's all in this fluted molding. And there's not tears in my transfer. There's no tears in my transfer. If you cut it, you get to control. Release that backing paper where you can, because that's gonna control the shape. Come over here and do some flat surfaces. And then I've got another one that's got to go in a curve. I think I'll have enough time. Okay, so I'm going to take this guy right here, and I want it to go right up to this edge right here. And my concern is it's got a lot of clear excess right here. What is the color on this piece? This is a mix. So I mixed Dixie Belle, and you can't even see, it's bleached out on camera, but it's a really pretty mauve color. I mixed this is aubergine, muscadine wine, and apricot, shaded with just apricot. You're in Mammoth, Stacey? Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to cut off this excess so that I can put this right up to the edge, because that's preventing me from getting it where I want it to go. And then I'm going to take this little design right here, and then I can put my flowers right up to the edge of my drawer. I think right there is good. Like I said, I'm going to fill in. I'll probably run some of the smaller flowers off of this, but I start with my larger designs. This is going to be an easy one. It's a nice flat surface. I'll rub over it one time with my stick, rub over the entirety of it, paying attention to the edges the most. And then I can choose an edge, and I'm going to start pulling it. And I'm paying attention as I pull it away to make sure I'm not pulling my edges at the same time. Okay? And then I can just pull it from there. Do you see how much easier that is compared to trying to make it conform over those curves? Okay, and then I'll go over this with my hand, make sure it's all attached. Got a little air bubble right in here. Oh, you know what it is? It's the outline of my hardware. That's what that is. And then same thing, I'm going to use my finishing pad. If you have air bubbles, you guys, the finishing pad can tear your transfer, so your fingers tell you where the air bubbles are, so you get those out first so you don't tear your transfer. Okay, that's an easy one. Flat surfaces are easy. Okay, let's come over here and do one more on a curve. Let's do this guy down here, because I think that's what you guys are more interested in. This one's another flat surface, super easy. All right, so now I need to figure out on this one which direction I want it to go. So I think probably here is where I would put this. I want most of the image to stay on the front. Just a little bit's gonna wrap that corner right there, and I like that the flowers are pointing in towards my piece. How long has the paint been drying? Overnight. I just painted this last night. So I'm gonna go ahead and release this from my backing now that I know my placement. I'm gonna go ahead and place this. Okay, but I'm going to attach it at the flat section first. So even though I kind of watched to make sure that this wasn't too far down here, I'm going to attach the flat surface first. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work one molding at a time. And bring you guys down. Let's go down even more. There we go. Okay, I'm going to work this side molding before I come down here and try to make that one conform. So I'm going to get this right into the crevice. First thing, put it into that crevice. And if you guys can see on this molding, the molding has a crevice in it right here. So I need to work it into there first. The color is a mix of Dixie Belle Aubergine, Muscadine Wine, and Apricot. 3 colors mixed together made this mauve color. I could not tell you exact mixes because I would add one color and then I felt like, oh, it needed to be a little more red, and so I'd add a little more of the other. So I could not tell you, you know, that it's exactly a 1-to-1 of each. But start slow when you're mixing. Start with a little bit of a color and you can always add more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this to release so that it's not confined by this flat area anymore. Going around making sure my edges are attached. And now that it's released a little bit and I've got more play in it, I can come down and do the same thing to this molding around the bottom. See, it gives this paper some more flex so that I can pull at it from a different direction. Does that make sense? When I mix, I always come up short. Here's my solution, Pollyann. I always over mix. I way over mix because I would rather have leftover of the color than run up short. Now, that's not always a guarantee. There are plenty of times I've had to remix my paint, and you just learn, you know, to come up, you know, come back and get it close enough, and it usually doesn't matter unless you need to repaint the whole piece again. If you're just touching up a spot or doing a side, you're not going to notice if it's a tiny shade off. And then see how this can release now? On the other side, I cut it off. You don't necessarily have to cut it off. But now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pay attention to this flat part. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap into just this first crevice. And I've got my hinge in there, so I'm going to need to cut that again. I think it looks kind of cool on those hinges. I find it easier to cut my transfer when it's still attached to my backing paper. It's a little bit cleaner of a cut. So I'm going to cut around and into my door crevice, and that's released that whole side of this paper. So see all this now can come up. There we go. There we go. And now I can wrap this onto my hinge. Let's finish wrapping this fluted molding. So first crevice. Okay, now I'm going to use my fingers, press it, wrap the second crevice. Do you see what I'm saying? If I just try to place it on here and rub it all in at one time, I'm gonna get cracking because I'm gonna be pulling it. But if I'm just working it one area at a time, okay, next crevice, wrap it with my fingers, rub it on. Okay, and then this last little bit is going to wrap my edge, wrap my corner right here. Okay, I need to put my head in the way so I can see. When you wrap a corner, do you see how this little side popped up? You want to do a piece like this, but you worry because it's so buyer specific. I don't, Amanda, because I feel like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you only ever paint generic things, people are only ever going to come to you for generic things. Once they learn that you can do different styles, you start getting requests for those different styles. So it's, you know, you paint for the customers you want. Now, Now granted, I'm a few years into my business and it took me some time to get there, to grow a customer base. But people come to me for more specific designs now. So, you know, one thing that's a good idea is mix in a few different designs with your staples to show people you have range. I'm just pulling this backing sheet away, watching my transfer at the same time, making sure I'm not pulling my transfer up. All right, and now I can start just using my fingers and seeding it into those really tiny crevices of this fluted molding right here. So that's my suggestion there, is mix in some creative designs, because you're never going to attract those customers if they never see you painting it. They're not going to know you even do it. And then those people will seek you out.
Hunt you down.
So no, I have people seek me out for more fun designs now. Now this does not have a customer. This one will have to be sold, but here's the other thing I know. To date, I've never had a piece not sell. They always sell. Some sit around for longer. They always sell. Okay, now I'm cutting it, making sure it's okay. Get it into this crevice here. Okay, I need to go, you guys. I'm going to be live on the Dixie Belle Paint page. I'm going to pop off here and just move pages, and we're going to put some waxes on this. So I needed to get the transfer on so I can come in and throw some waxes on here. I'll probably have to do this one last piece of transfer so I can do my waxes on camera. So I'm going to go back over, I'm going to pop off here, I'm going to go over to the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook page. Head over to Dixie Belle, and you will find me there working on this same piece, doing the next step. Okay? I'm burnishing it into my crevices. We're going to add some waxes to this. So I shaded with paint, now I'm going to shade with some waxes too. Sound good? Alright. Popping off, you guys. Head over to Dixie Belle, okay? I'll see you in a few minutes.